Hi there, my name is Desiree Scarborough and welcome back to my channel. So a couple months ago, I made a video letting all of you know that I will be leaving the corporate job that I've had for the last 3.5 years and moving to Paris for 2 months. Now, at the time that I'm making this video, it is actually the first day of 2026. So happy new year to everyone. Let's start off by saying that. But I wanted to talk to you guys about how my time in Paris went, kind of what prompted me to make that move in a little bit more detail than my last video. And now that I'm back and I've been back for a few months, how do I feel? Am I going back? What did we learn? All of those things. So I wrote myself a little script. It's actually not little. It's front and back. So it's 6 pages, 6 pages of a script. But I wanted to do this for you, for anybody that's thinking about making a move like this or trying something like this, but also just for myself to look back on. And it was really great to sit and write this and reflect because so much has changed, I feel, about my life, my personality, my level of patience. For sure. That's a big one. We'll get to that. So as I read the script, because they have these teleprompter app things, but they just don't work very well for me. So I'm going to read the script and I'll include videos and images and things like that from my trip. So you can kind of just put some headphones on and listen to this if you don't want to, sit and just kind of watch me talk. Or if you see most of these videos and images on TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that already, maybe you could just listen to me talk. And that's cool too. Put me on a little podcast. So let's get into it. Let's start. Let me tell you the story. So on September 5th, I left JFK with 2 checked bags, a carry-on, and a backpack on a flight to CDG, Paris, France. Leading up to the trip, I was making sure to spend as much time as possible with my friends and my loved ones. And as the time for me to leave got closer and folks continued to express their sadness, happiness, words of encouragement, and hope for my future, I started to grow anxious. I still felt like this was the right move for me, and yet at the same time, there was still a mountain of fear and uncertainty. Now, fun fact about me, I'm a serial quitter. In any area of my life, if something is no longer working, no matter how difficult it may be, I follow my intuition and leave. It doesn't always make sense at the time, and I can't always be sure of what's on the other side, but I do believe that your gut will never betray you. The anxious thoughts in your mind can cause you to spiral, but I believe your truth lies in your heart and your gut. Since graduating in 2020, COVID year. Yeah. Is all of this starting to make sense? Not really having that much of a clear path. This is going off script. Not really having much of a clear path, just kind of waiting for the world to open up, doing a bunch of random things and side quests. It was a time. I'm sure they're already doing studies about the effects of all of these things, but I definitely feel as somebody who was supposed to graduate college or do anything momentous at that year and having things delayed, our actual graduation was 2022. And we had to share with the current graduating class. I don't know. It just kind of felt all of it. It's we're playing catch up a bit, this trip, this move, temporary move would have been something that I probably would have done fresh out of school at 21. But we are here. We are here 6 years later, technically, because again, it's January 1st when I'm recording this. But yeah, I feel we're playing catch up a little bit. And so even now that this is an age the 27 to 29, early 30s sort of thing, even though this would be a time where we may have made big family changes and moves and things like that, like our parents did, we just don't feel ready. We're I'm still a teenager. What exactly do you mean? What exactly do you mean? These are the teenage years of my adulthood. I don't know. Fighting time a bit, and a little bit successfully, I may say, but we'll get to that. We shall get to that. I do talk about that in my script. So yes, let me continue reading. So, since graduating in 2020, there's been a pretty gradual progression from opportunity to opportunity, from graduating to RISD, to online Harvard business classes, to my first brand deal, to my first Vogue feature, to starting my website, all while working at my neighborhood plant shop. I never fully had any idea of exactly what was next, but I knew that when a new idea or opportunity came along, it was a push I needed to move on to something new. Change has never really been scary for me. Letting go has always been necessary for my progression. One of my favorite quotes is, "My consistency is change." And I'm known to give away anything that no longer works without a second thought, much to my mom, because she does not understand that. And she's like, this was a $100 bag. I'm like, and now it's somebody else's for free because I just don't want it for free. Bless somebody. Okay. The more my spirit of release grew, the more opportunities I continued to flow through. You can't hold so tightly to what you've already outgrown, or else your new path won't have room to reveal itself. That type of looseness comes from continuing to build up my spirit of discernment, a muscle I'm constantly working. I also don't want to make it sound like I don't care about nothing, because I feel like sometimes that's how that spirit of release can come across. Like, I don't care about anything. Everything's like, what? Not true. Not true. I'm a big crier. So like, sometimes when I'm like, I let go of these people. I let go of this place. I let go of this thing. Girl, I be crying. I do, in fact, be feeling. Please trust that this is not some sort of lack of empathy. Like, I don't care about nothing. A lot of times it hurts me to do those things. But it is necessary, and it is always for the best. And honestly, I was writing this and I couldn't think of a time where I really regretted doing any of that. No. I think any semblance of regret was how long I let it continue, because that's the other thing. It's also, I get these feelings and I know what I need to do, but sometimes I do be letting a couple months pass. It's like I knew in June, but I didn't say anything or really release the thing until September. Like, even though I do it and I quit and I do these things and I break up with these people, I do whatever, it takes me some time, even though it has already been placed in my spirit that this is no longer the thing. It do take me some time. I do not, in fact, always have a 24-hour turnaround. Some things are easier to quit than others, right? I just didn't want to make it sound to y'all like everything, like, ooh, yay, like, tears. Tears in the club. It's been a while since I listened to that song. Should listen to that song. Please do not copyright me. Oh my God. Here's what I wrote in my notes on what was supposed to be my last day in 2024. So October 31st, 2024. Today was supposed to be my last day at this company. When I sat down last year and wrote my plans for 2024, quitting my job after my New York Fashion Week show was on the to-do list. Not because I thought I'd become this huge overnight success, but because even a year ago to this day, I felt unfulfilled. That was the beginning of the planting of the seed. It was like 2023, then 2024, then eventually actually leaving the thing in 2025, right? I'm a serial quitter, but I do ruminate. I'm a human being. I'm not a robot. I don't just say, goodbye, peasants, as soon as I feel something. Well, sometimes I do. If I'm in a physical, okay. Work is something. Now I feel like I have to give background because that just sounded like, huh? Long story short, like I've quit jobs after 3 months. I've quit after, when was like the shortest time? I think I worked somewhere like a month, And I was like, yeah, that's not it. Could have been a week, but I don't know. I think that was when I was doing some dog walking for another company, really was not working out. Then I got an opportunity to do something else, so I left that. So I left jobs. I've typically left jobs because something new has come along. Someone in my network has called me and said, hey, would love for you to do this thing. And I quit something after 5 months. You know, there's always been something else I'm going to, which is why I'm leaving. This is the first time where it was like, I'm quitting because I'm going to try living in another country, but there is, at this current moment in time, no job set up. So this situation is a first for me. So this is like the first time in my working life where it's just been like, I just want to go try this thing. It's like, you know, Alexa, play Free Fall by Kate Trinata. Yeah. Further explanation on what I mean by serial quitter. But I will tell you, I walk in a place, I'm like, I don't like this. I immediately leave. I don't like how my hair is turning out. I say stop and I get up and I walk out. That's like immediate quitting that I do. Like right now I'm sitting in this current moment. For example, if I'm like right now, if I'm sitting in this current moment, I don't like the people I'm around, I'm just gonna leave. And I do think that immediate version of my spirit of release has definitely probably saved my life on multiple occasions, or just saved my mental state. Like, you don't need to be around them people. You already determined, just from what this person just said, that you don't want to be here anymore. It was like that clip from America's Next Top Model. She's like, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't think this is for me. I'm gonna go. Yeah, girl. That is also me. But sometimes the quitting takes a little bit longer, you know? People, places, things. I don't know. Took me a while to come to the realization that although I love New York and I will always love New York, and it is still New York or nowhere, hear me, I'm also like not really digging this country anymore. I don't really think I want to do long-term here. I don't really think this is for me, you know? So that spirit of quit has already been inside, but we've been trying a couple different ways to get there, and it's been difficult. It's been très difficile. So yeah, but we're not giving up. We're continuing to pivot. Okay, can we go back to the script? Jesus, this video is gonna be long, you guys. Being busy with the show, my residency, etc., put off the feeling for a while. But when my career goal life had a chance to slow down, I realized exactly how lackluster this specific area of my life really felt. I'm thankful for the ease and the freedom I've been able to have there over the years, but I think it's time to move on. I actually didn't write, I think. I wrote, but it's time to move on. Yeah, that's something that I'm working on for 2026. I want to start changing my language and the way that I speak about things. I don't want to say, I think, I hope so often. I just want to say, I will, I do. I spoke about this. If y'all don't know, because I never spoke about it on this channel, how would you know? I have a book review platform that I started in France, like early November. It's called Notes On. It only exists on TikTok because Instagram is not really the vibe anymore. But eventually we will be making it to YouTube. But I'm a huge book lover. I love to chat about things that I'm watching, reading, etc. So I started that channel. And I recently spoke about the movie Marty Supreme, starring Timothy Chalamet. I saw it about 2 days before the new year. Absolutely like set my mind. I was just like, I need to be going harder. But something that also really stuck out to me is Marty Mauser, it's Timothy Chalamet's character. He only spoke in I will, I can, I am. Not I think, not probably, Maybe when it came to speaking about his goals and how he felt and what he wanted to do, everything was very direct. And so that is something that I'm consistently working on, and I'm actually changing the way that I say things in real time. So if I start saying, I think, I'd be like, no, I know. And I just start over because it's my life. And I start over when I want to. And restart my sentences when I want to. So that's something also that I'm actively working on this year. I don't think there's enough respect given to feelings of boredom. Being bored for too long is mentally destructive and exhausting. I feel it damages me to stay where you aren't growing. I thought I could be one of those people who have a really boring day job and the rest of their life is full of excitement and new experiences and things to overcome. But it turns out I need stimulation in almost all areas of my life. My mother was right. In some ways, I am high maintenance and I am not a cheap date. What's wilder to me is not everyone is bored where I am. For some, the repetition is comfortable, the busy work is purposeful, the circling conversations are objective. Perspective is what it is. I've tried looking at my situation a multitude of ways, tried to give my brain rationale and feed it a list of reasons why I'm making the mature decision, a just for now decision, but it does not compute. You try to cheat your gut out of what it knows is right. And it's just like, well, no, because no. And you're trying to like convince it. You're like, no, it's not that bad. Like, it's not that bad, but girl. It's like that SNL conversation with Meg Thee Stallion where she's like, girl. You know? Even when I didn't give my month's notice, I kept it on my calendar. In some instances, I'd hoped I'd just get plucked and pushed into something new. And in a way, the date I'd set for myself would still be possible. In other ways, I've now set myself a challenge. How long from my intended last day will be my actual last day? How much longer will I endure the box I put myself in? So like I said prior, right, I'd always been in these situations where someone would just call or an opportunity would arise and I'd just get plucked and pushed. So in that way, I became like a serial quitter and I got really comfortable leaving because there was this other place to go, this other thing to do. But there wasn't that this time. So that was like a big shift in my life. That was a change, right? Like I had to do the plucking, the pushing into a little bit of obscurity, into my dreams, my goals, my passions, into completely depending on me. And I grossly, severely underestimated how hard that was going to be. Yeah, I did. I was like, I'll just do it. And then it was like, when though? But you know, and I was like, you got a pretty good thing going. And you're like, yeah. Meanwhile, you bored as hell, girl. You's bored. When deciding to make this move, aside from the belief I lived my life with that everything is always working out for my good, I saw examples of the future I didn't want. Those older than me were choosing to stay where they've been forever, choosing to stand still in the name of loyalty or to make the time spent meaningful. Few seemed happy with their choice to stay. Jumping ahead a bit to the present, I was recently talking to my mom about what's next. The difference between our generation, she felt, was that we're chasing perfection. To them, we don't have what it takes to stick it out. We lack grit. I argue that we're not searching for perfection. Our threshold for bullshit is just less than those who came before us. We're unconcerned with putting in 20 years in one place and no need to stick anything out for the kids we're refusing to have in the current state of the world. We're deciding what challenges we're willing to accept. We can be choosy. We're releasing the previous expectations for those our age and living differently, taking the time to search and pivot. Perhaps what we see as a spirit of exploration, they see it as flightiness. C'est la vie. Here's what I wrote in my notes on what was supposed to be my last day in 2024. You know, I was like, this is going to be the time. I keep saying last year because I forget we're in 2026. So 2024, I did my biggest New York Fashion Week September show. I one of my first videos on this channel was me posting kind of like clips from that show and stuff like that. One of my biggest accomplishments so far, both self-funded from my 9-to-5 and also crowdfunded. Really, really proud of how that show, collection, everything came to be. But yeah, I was like, I think I want to leave my job after the show. Really had so much fun, even in the madness and the chaos and the uncertainty of fully planning this show, putting this brand together, making this new step for my brand. And I didn't want to devote any of my time any longer to something that wasn't that. And so in my mind, I was like, okay, after the show, I'm gonna leave my job. Now, we all know that it was August 2025 when I actually did it. But what set in was also money, right? Like I just said. So I fully funded that show with my paychecks, basically putting like about 75% to the side. As you may or may not know, I think I introduced myself on this channel. I live with my family. This is why I'm able to do this. I do not pay rent in New York City. I got very lucky, very blessed, and my grandparents bought this house in the 60s. Ask me how much a brownstone costs today. Minimum $1.5 million. Do you have that? Okay. I don't have, not yet. I don't have that yet, but you know, one day. But yes, so I live with my family, right? So I was able to take between 60 to 80% of my paycheck, throw it completely behind the show. And even then, still needed to crowdfund, still fundraising. If y'all follow me on Instagram or TikTok, y'all saw me like twice a week doing like updates, trying to get people to donate. I was sending emails behind the scene. My team was working with people, talking to people in the area, trying to get them to donate. It was a team effort. It was a team effort, okay? It was a momentous occasion, momentous thing that we were doing. So yes, money. I was like, okay, girl, we quit. And then with what coin? You know, like savings non-existent. Just, yeah. So everybody got paid though. Everybody I worked with, models, my team, stylists, everybody got paid. I'm honestly very proud of that. This is something that I could talk about in another video, but I have been in the situation in the fashion industry where I've had to call people, be like, hey, I was supposed to get paid a couple of days ago, and basically had someone literally verbatim say, is it really that serious? Well, yes, that was one of my goals. Like when I started this brand, I got my LLC in 2022, technically 2022, even though I started the brand in 2020. But I, you know, legally registered with New York State in 2022. So that was one of my goals. I was like, I don't want to be anything like some of the people that I work with. And I work with some really great people. And I've had some really great experiences and I've had some terrible experiences. And on the side of terrible experiences, most of it, which is no news for anybody who works in fashion, but maybe in like any creative industry, I don't even know. But like the behind payments, lack of pay, the I'll hit you back in 2 weeks sort of thing, like it's hard out here. And so many people just want you to intern. Oh my God, be an intern, do this, blah, blah, blah. Unpaid. And I was talking to my friend about this recently because what nobody talks about when you graduate college, it seems like 27 is like the cutoff for things. And I'm turning 28 this year, cutoff for things, right? Like President Macron was like, oh, I'm gonna do this, you know, exchange program or some sort of program like bringing Americans over to France to get master's degrees. And I was like, oh my God, period. I go on that website. You can't be you have to be 26 and younger, and you had to have graduated within the last like 3 to 4 years. As y'all know, that's not my story. But it's not just that. I mean, that was devastating to me. It was devastating to me. I was sad about it for a couple hours, okay? Because that was going to be my ticket. That was going to be my ticket, and then I was going to bring everybody with me. You know what I'm saying? So now I was like, okay, now a new opportunity. Something else will come along. But not just that, so many other things, like these cutoffs of like 27, or like specifically looking for students to do something for free or only for like $200 because they don't have the budget. And I'm just like, and now all of a sudden you're 20 something years old, approaching 30, and you're thrown into the pool with people who have been in this business professionally working for decades more than you have. I'm talking like people in their 40s, 50s. It's like when you go on LinkedIn and you look for a job, and sometimes they tell you, okay, this job has been posted 10 hours ago. It already has 300 applicants. Okay. And you see that 40% of these applicants for like a junior position are senior level. 40, 50% have master's degrees. Oh, I'm competing with the cream of the crop. I'm competing with people who have been doing this for 20, 30, 40 years. All of a sudden. And I've got like, what? What? Nobody told me that. No, nobody told me that. Nobody told me. Nobody told me these things. So now I'm telling you, okay? It's actually pretty astounding. Like all of a sudden everybody's like, yeah, you're an adult with the rest of us. And it's like, okay, cool, I get that. But also, like, I don't have all this experience, and now we're just thrown into, like, there needs to be something for the in-between. And maybe I'm gonna have to create that, but there has to be something for the in-between. That like 25, 26 to like early to mid to late 30 range. Like there's something for the in-betweeners. Something paid where you could actually pay rent, live your life, maybe take a trip once or twice a year. Like something that's just like living. LIVIN. You know, not even trying to do nothing crazy, spectacular, not trying to buy an island, just trying to live a regular, normal life. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's really crazy. Okay, we're gonna go back to the script. But back to boredom and wants for a second. People are like, you can't just do what you want to do all the time. True. But I'm of the mind that most of your life should be decisions you made because you wanted to. You want to leave things, people, and places, so you do. That's how change is made. However difficult that might be, you know, easier said than done, easier said than in practice, but necessary. Not easy, but necessary. It's another one of my favorite quotes. Okay? Your boredom can turn to animosity, and thus I find it dangerous. It's like people who blow up their marriage, one selfish and extreme act after the other because they're just so bored with this life they continue to participate in. It's just so hard being in the box I put myself in and won't leave. It's just so difficult living this life day to day that I continue to participate in. You know what I mean? Okay. Instead of leaving, instead of realizing things won't just get better without any work or decision making, and in turn make the hard choices, they release their malignant boredom on anyone in the surrounding area. Now that might be a little rough. It might be a little rough. But did I lie? No. I actually think staying in places, things with people that bore you to no end is dangerous. It's dangerous for you because the amount of times I think people like act out just because like they just need some sort of stimulation. And it's like, but you are in control of some of these things. Like you can leave, but there's a bit of comfort in the boredom because you know what to expect, right? And so then you can just like do these impulsive side things, but they can end up hurting other people. And I don't think we give enough credit to the to the boredom of it all. I don't think so. They're like, what? Are you just like bored or something? And it's like, yeah, but like, do you understand how that can just like grow and fester into something dangerous? I'd be thinking, okay, how long until I become a cancer to keep a paycheck? I don't intend to find out. You know, when you work a corporate job or like even any sort of 9-to-5, and there's this person that's just been there so long, too long, right? They are insufferable to work with, but they don't know anything else other than this place they've been at. You know, like some people work at a job 30, 40 years. They as cheerful as the day they started. They love it. Love those people, right? Then there are people that have been there 10 plus years that hate it, but they don't know anything else. They don't think they can do anything else. They don't think they're good at anything else. And they make that everybody else's problem. You ever worked somewhere like that? I have multiple occasions. I'm like, please find something else to do because you are stressing out the people that work here. Back to my script. If happiness is a fleeting feeling, then wants are the continued gut punch of desire that won't go away. It's the universe's way of baiting you into a better life for yourself. Okay, existential rant about the damaging effects of boredom over. Now, let's talk about Paris. Truly, what a time. I did my best to journal every day, and I was mostly successful. I took all of the opportunities to get a physical photo of myself at the metro station photo booths to have tangible evidence of everything I was doing and feeling day after day. That was like my favorite thing. And it was only like 2 to 3 euros. Put my little coins in, take my little pictures for the day when I was feeling cute or feeling annoyed or feeling scared. I just wanted to document myself in this place and how I felt in the given time. And I loved it. I really think New York is all about, oh, we got to get rid of the Metro cards. How about you put some photo booths? And y'all want people to start carrying cash again? You put photo booths in there and you make it like coins and cash only. Watch how quickly people start carrying cash. And then this will also help because I was reading this article about the fear homeless people were having or unhoused people were having with the MetroCard going away and the Omni and everything tap to pay, because when they're panhandling and asking for money in the subway or on the train station, stuff like that, nobody has cash, even if they want to give them something, right? So this is going to fix, somebody get Zoran Monami on the phone. Tell him to hit me up because I have an idea. Mr. Krabs, I have an idea. Okay. I got so comfortable in my small solo spaces. I found joy in walking aimlessly, wandering from cafe to cafe, watching the people and the dogs, stumbling over my poorly formed French, meeting new people, and becoming a regular at places. I started to feel the freedom again that I felt living in my own apartment in my senior year of college. I was free, I was alone, mostly. I made new friends and reconnected with old ones, and I felt proud that I made it here. Since January of this, since January of this year because I wrote that in December, but since January of 2025, I was saving, scouting Airbnbs, planning side quests, and emailing everyone I knew who lived there or knew someone who did. I worked with a life coach, shout out to Miss Tracy, checking in monthly with my progress towards this new life and away from the one I'd gotten so comfortably complacent with. Getting to Paris and living this life that I spent so long planning felt so surreal. While I was there, I talked a lot and thought a lot about free will, that you could do the hard thing or scary thing with planning and passion. It doesn't have to be forever if you don't want it to, but there's so much joy and power in trying and succeeding. French culture is so different, and oddly enough, it started to grow on me. I had these big, lofty goals of bulldozing my way into French art and fashion and emerging in 2 months with a super cool job, so my time there would feel like it was worth it to everyone and to myself. What I got instead was a new meaning of the word patience. A stereotype of the French is that they don't like to work. I'd say that instead, they see the importance of it in a lesser light than we Americans do. Their free time is valuable. Need something last minute? Too bad. C'est pas possible. It's time for dinner, and then tomorrow I must go to the South for a break. I had to laugh, and I started to love it. There was nothing you could do but wait. Each person I met who was native or who had lived there for a long time was much more interested in getting to know me. They wanted to craft a real relationship, meet for coffee or dinner a few times, have that back and forth of you invite me to something and then I invite you to something. A real friendship and foundation that's more than you have something I need. Let's just get straight to that. The New York City big hustler way that I was accustomed to. It forced me to slow down, and I started to care less about leaving with a huge job offer and more about making sure I was taking my time to see and feel the fullness of what it means to live in Paris. The day-to-day, the fleeting boredom, the solitude and community, the culture of idleness. I needed to be present and feel all of it. I experienced some of the most welcoming and kindest people I've ever met. Strangers who started to feel like old friends, people who brought me into their homes and embraced me in a matter of weeks. It was the start of something beautiful that I had to continue to nurture. The outcome of which I started to realize I wouldn't see the fullness of before I got back on the plane to come home. I started to really appreciate that slowness. Instead of the boom, noise, and bustle of New York City, Paris had a pulsating rumbling. It was always on the precipice of collapse and strike. Speaking of which, I was able to witness 2 out of the 3 strikes that took place during my visit. Again, there was nothing to do but wait it out. No one protests like the French. For all the laissez-faire attitude, they know how to come together when it counts, and I respect that. I wish Americans were able to have the same freedom to fight imperfectly without things ending in bloodshed. No country is perfect, but there is a grit and fight instilled in the foundation of French culture that we could learn from. I'm not sure that just waiting for Trump's reign to end is the solution. What will America be left with when he's done with it? I really don't know. In my heart, I knew I wasn't ready to jump back into office life. I knew I needed space and time to figure out what I wanted my life to be as I approached 30. I was thankful Parisian life forced me to slow down. I loved going to the market each day, walking around with a tote bag inside of my purse in case I stumbled into a random market or found something cool on the street. My sense of discovery felt reinvigorated, and I was sad to be leaving it. I felt like I'd found something special in this dysfunctional, organized, and beautiful city, and I was already trying to figure out how to get back. While I was living in Paris, I read 2 memoirs that made me feel even more connected to the journey I was on. Fearless and Free by Josephine Baker and The Chiffon Trenches by Andre Leon Talley. Both reminded me how twisted and convoluted the journey of life is. Our paths circle and cross, bridging from one to another as we step on them. The roads are making themselves as we say yes and no to things. There is truly no way to fully see everything that's coming next, so stop worrying. Easier said than done, as with all of the great life advice you get. I know. Tally showed me that I could leave and come back to a place as many times as I wanted, and to call multiple places home. Baker showed me that it was possible to be and do everything I wanted in this life. I just had to keep being loud about it. I couldn't shrink. The quality of my life depended on it. So now I am back in New York City. How do I feel? I still feel the late 20s, approaching a new decade, a sense of confusion and whimsy. My desires are clear to me, but the pathway still feels shrouded in mystery. I have the typical thoughts on my mind. Grad school, learning new skills, should I freeze my eggs for when I'm rich enough to afford the kids I want someday, and how to make more money in this increasingly difficult economic time. I have good days where I wake up before my alarm, I make myself breakfast, do some light yoga, and practice my French before I start scrolling, and less great days when I stay up late watching movies or drawing and sleep past noon, wake up and eat random snacks until I get inspired to cook a huge dinner. I say that to say, going to Paris didn't turn me into a perfect adult robot and become an entirely new person, so sure and confident about everything. Remember this, wherever you go, there you are. There is no running from you and your imperfections, no place that will completely change you into your best self. There is no utopia, just a place that makes you feel closest to the person you dream of becoming. But there are risks you're supposed to take to get closer to the person you want to be. There will still be unproductive days and moments of doubt, and confusion that may last longer than you'd like. However, because you took and continue to take those risks, your dreams will continue to actualize before you even realize what's happening. The more of life you grab, the more you allow yourself to release what is no longer serving you. And the more dreams you realize, the easier it gets to pivot time and time again and reimagine your life. I can't wait to get back to Paris, but I also appreciate where I am now. The support and love from the people in my life that keep me grounded, the home I can always come back to without judgment, and the quiet time I have right now to plan what's next. So, stay tuned. Both of us are in for lots of surprises. And with that, the 2025 season has come to an end. We are in 2026. We are going to be getting into some things, and I'm going to be posting a lot more frequently on YouTube because now all I have is time. Okay, see you in the next one. Bye.